The following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
You know, we have Tom from Tampa on the phone. Hey, Tom. Good morning. It's bright and early now, huh?
Hey, Paige. Good. How you guys doing, Nico?
Doing great.
Good. Hey, your newsletter's outstanding, man. I'm telling you, man, it is outstanding. And so is the Primal Edge. I love that stuff. I'd never be without it. I mean, I've been on it now 3-4 months, man. I mean, it's just, I can't get over how good I feel.
Primal Edge is, people are raving about it. People who are trying it, they know because you can feel it.
Would not be without it.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now your hosts, Nico de Haan and Paige Clarke.
Good morning, I'm Nico de Haan. Welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle, where we explore a return to a more balanced, natural, wild world.
That's right, Nico. And I'm Paige Clarke, and this is where we explore a return to our natural health and we regain our rights and our freedoms.
It's a beautiful day in downtown Clearwater. It's 77 degrees and clear skies. And how you doing this morning?
I'm doing okay. It's a crazy day, but hey, make sure you subscribe to our Health Signals newsletter. This is good stuff, folks. This way you can have news that you can really use to stay healthy. Great article there. Brand newish edition just came out yesterday.
Yeah, right? I sent it out yesterday. I wanted to mention here on the Purium, I've got two different discounts here. One is for the CBDs, and one is for the rest of the catalog. I had no idea that there were two separate links, and I had just been linking it singly. So now you can get both the CBDs and the Biomedic, which is really good.
Actually, they're coming out with a Biomedic gift card. I mean, so many people are just actually wanting to get everyone they know on the Biomedic to kind of bind the glyphosate with all the recent news.
And it really works well, too, with our product, which is the Primal Edge, because both of them are run by fulvic and humic acid. We know these are the signaling compounds in there to tell the body to take the bad stuff out and
get the good stuff in.
Get the stuff in.
And if you're up and at it, guys, give us a call, 877-927-6648. I'm really working on getting used to my AGA appliance in my mouth, and I'm trying to enunciate, and I appreciate you guys' patience with me.
I just lost my link here.
Yeah, we're having a little technology stuff this morning, but every once in a while that happens. We just have to kind of go with the
I've
flow.
got this article here, is planning building a genetic Noah's Ark, including a staggering 66,000 species. Now, this is an international consortium involving over 50 institutions, and they've announced this ambitious project to assemble high-quality genome sequences for all 66,000 vertebrate species on Earth. That includes all mammals, birds, reptiles, amphibians, and fish, and this is with a cost of about $600 million. It's pretty cool.
It's a project of biblical proportions. Sounds very much like that. And I've always find it interesting when we see these kind of projects going on, like the seed bank and the billionaires and the elite groups that are back behind that. You know, I find it very interesting.
Money, that's for sure.
It sure takes a lot of money
to people doing this.
And it says that the co-founders of the project announced the new goal yesterday at a press briefing. It was held during the open session of the 2018 Genome 10K Conference, currently being held at Rockefeller University. In New York City, the project will involve over 150 experts from 50 institutions in 12 countries.
Yeah, it's fairly interesting. The announcement came in tandem with the release of 14 new high-quality genomes for species representing all 5 vertebrate classes. The genomes of the greater horseshoe bat, the Canadian lynx, the platypus, Annie's hummingbird, and the Kakapo
parrot.
Kakapo parrot, So these are unusual species. These 14 have been compiled over the course of the project. They'll be made available to the scientists for the purposes of research.
Yeah, they say that like the Human Genome Project, this endeavor will undoubtedly produce breakthroughs in high-resolution sequencing and genome assembly methods while resulting in lower costs and fewer errors. The project will also address important questions in biology and disease and make immediate impact on the fields of evolution, genomics, and conservation biology.
Yeah, And by doing this, they're going to get better and better at sequencing things. This is the real bonus, I think, to projects like this, because when you're going to do 66,000 species, you learn something along the way. So I think our sequencing will get better, which means it'll be faster, it'll be purer, and this could have some ramifications in some health of the human beings, let's say.
Except that they're not studying the right genome. They're studying nuclear genome, which we now know that's not where disease occurs.
Yeah.
It happens in the mitochondrial DNA,
Right.
and they're not studying the mitochondrial DNA.
No, but they are studying the other one, and this is so they can later replicate. So that particular substance has the other in it. So it's the less complicated of the two, and I think that's the reason we're doing it. But that's a good point for bringing that up.
Yeah, I think that this is one of the things that concerns me, is that we've spent billions, trying to find a genetic link to cancer, and we know, in fact, that there is no nuclear genetic, there are very few, I
Right.
should say, there's a few cancers that appear to maybe have that, very small.
Yeah.
I'm talking about in the single digit.
Well, this is coming at it from, I think, a little bit different, because we're now concerned about species disappearing completely, and we want to kind of have a library of those things. So I think that's the thing, but that comes down to the whole aspect of how the Earth moves as far as life concerned. Species come and species go. So are we interfering with that process, which might bring up a Frankenstein type of, that's kind of what I always think of. You watch the sci-fi movies, and there's always something that goes wrong,
I agree, and
So-
I'm I'm a little bit more on the suspicious side. I think that having just gone through probably one of the worst tragedies, 9/11 in our country's history, and when I see things like this, there could be a very good side to it, and it could also be a kind of a nefarious side. But it is interesting that we continue to put millions into analyzing what nature kind of does on her own.
Yeah, I think we're just trying to understand. I mean, from a scientific point of view, we want to know how things work. We want to know why they work in these ways, and we want to find the path, kind of that these animals can, live, and perhaps maybe bring back. They're talking about bringing back the woolly mammoth, the dodo bird. Some of these we know that have been. Is it a good idea? Well, the science movies would tell us no. If you watch Alien or anything like
Maybe
that.
they're going to bring back the Neanderthal.
Yeah, that's.
I
always,
mean,
How
the
far do
question
you
is,
go? Yeah.
why did different species no longer thrive?
Right.
Because their mitochondrial DNA did not make the shifts.
Right.
Didn't make the cut.
And then there's the other thing in here, the spirit of the animal, or what we would say the soul. There are so many souls on Earth, and are we creating a new soul, or is this a soul that's popped in from other places? So many unanswered questions. If you believe in those particular things, that life does go on. When I die, this body might be gone, but my spirit maybe pops up somewhere else. Maybe
I
in the
think
dodo bird. Who knows?
That's more the way I think. I mean, I actually think these bodies.
Well, we like
are
to
like
think that.
ours.
It's certainly a lot friendlier than, hey, this is it, folks. There's nothing more. So we're always thinking, well, it's got to be something more, because, I close my eyes, I always wake up. And if you don't, then you go, well, that's really weird. You never wake up. Wait a minute. And of course, we see that in the people that have left us. They're no longer here. We have their memories. We don't have them. So
Yeah,
it's a big question for sure.
It's that frequency. the
Stick around,
dimensions.
folks.
We're
We're
back.
going to be right back.
Always here.
That's for sure. Pick up our Primal Edge while you're at it. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com. Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large-cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
And welcome back to the show. I got an article sent to me by Alan, and it talks about cholesterol and all the fat and everything like that. And so I remembered I stumbled across this article that a fat-inducing anti-aging molecule keeps blood vessels young. And
well, you said fat, but you meant fasting. Fasting-induced anti-aging molecule.
Yeah, and this anti-aging molecule is a fat molecule. Mm-hmm. It's a ketone.
Right.
Okay, so that's where the fat came in. And here we have a nice picture of it, actually, of the nerve.
Yes, as new research has found that fasting triggers this molecule and it can delay the aging of our arteries. And I think no doubt, we're seeing that many people are embracing the power of fasting to help their bodies overcome autoimmune diseases and other chronic diseases. And it could really actually help us prevent age-related chronic diseases, the big ones, cancer, Alzheimer's, cardiovascular disease, and more.
Yes, really keeping the vascular system supple and young. Now, the research for eternal youth has preoccupied humans for ages. In fact, if you take a quick look at Greek mythology, it shows you that youth was more prized than immortality.
They had the Greek baths, everything. Yep. They wanted to look beautiful, their skin. Right. You know, when you really think about keeping the arteries smooth and supple, that word. Really what's going on when you're fasting is you're actually giving the body a chance to do what it needs to do, housekeeping.
Yeah, time to rest. And
that's sort of the philosophy as proteolytic enzymes. Enzymes are what our body uses to do work. And if you're fasting, your body doesn't have to digest that Big Mac or that steak or that salad. It has a chance to say, hey, I think I'll go clean up some of that junk floating around the arteries.
And that's important, the arteries, because we know that digestion takes a lot of energy. If you know anything about snakes, and I was watching a snake video the other day, and had a nice meal, so now it goes off in a corner and rests. And it can't really do much else because of the digestion process. Now, our digestive process is a little different than a snake, but the same thing applies, that when we're digesting food, there's a lot of other things in our body that are kind of put on hold.
And that's why I really don't recommend eating before you go to bed. If you do, then your body and all those restorative processes, the parasympathetic nervous system, is busy digesting your meal instead of doing housework and cleaning. So.
Yeah, and the recommendation is if you're going to eat something very small and make it a carbohydrate that is digested very quickly. In other words, liquid type of thing. You know, like a little juice or something before going to bed.
Little cherry juice.
Little cherry juice, exactly.
A little honey, like you like to do.
I like to do that. So in a recent study, researchers were able to reverse signs of aging, such as hair loss, wrinkles in mice, and perhaps more impressively, another team of researchers managed to rejuvenate aging human cells.
Well, that's great when we actually see on a human study. And now there is a new study that adds to the evidence that aging can indeed be reversed, and it was led by a Dr. Ming-Hao Zhao, the director of the Center for Molecular and Translational Medicine at Georgia State University in Atlanta, and it showed that fasting or restricted calorie intake produces the molecule that delays vascular aging, and these were published in the journal Molecular Cell. So
yeah, this is out of the Traditional Medicine at Georgia State University. It shows that fasting or restricted calorie intake can produce a molecule that delays vascular aging, and this molecule is a ketone. Dr. Zhu explains the motivation for the study, saying that the most important part of aging is vascular aging. When people become older, the vessels that supply different organs are more sensitive and more subject to aging damage, so studying vascular aging is very important.
That's right. And they want to know if this actual, they're referring to it as a hormone, okay? Can this hormone produced in our bones may prevent age-related cognitive decline? There's a lot of interesting information going on about whether or not we can, truly reverse aging. And I say reversing aging is stopping the degradation, and fasting is a great tool.
And this is nature's natural process. If you're looking for food and there's no food there, you go into a state of ketosis. That's kind of the modern version. I think primitive man was probably already in ketosis, so it really didn't make any difference.
Well, he was running, he probably stayed in a state. That's how he stayed sharp, right?
Exactly.
And so this study they did looked at the link between the calorie restriction and the vascular aging, and he actually used mouse models with arthrosclerosis, and he studied their aortas post-mortem after they died and performed a series of cell culture experiments, and they actually induced starvation in other rodents to conduct similar tests, and they saw that, as they suspected, the starving mice produced the molecule beta-hydroxybutyrate. And surprisingly, however, this molecule was also preventing the vascular aging. So it is the ketone.
It's the ketone. It's a molecule produced by the liver, used as an energy source when glucose is not available. And we think it's the better energy source for us because it burns nice and slow and nice and steady, where we know that carbohydrates are a fast burn, kind of like nitric oxide. It's gone very quickly, and then you have to eat again. And I think this kind of really shows that eating 6 times a day is probably not a good idea, because then what you said earlier is that your body doesn't really have a chance to rest.
It doesn't have a chance to clean up. It says, interestingly, the research revealed that beta-hydroxybutyrate, or ketones, they actually promote the division and multiplication of the cells that line the inside of the blood vessels. That endothelial lining of our blood vessels is only 1 cell thick. So what that's saying is it rejuvenates the endothelial lining. And this division of these cells, it's a marker of cellular youth, the ability to repair the artery. This is huge, guys.
And I want to iterate this fact, and I've said it many times, is that these are the things we've been told for 50 years to stay away from. Don't do fasting, don't eat fat.
And people that I love dearly will say, oh, you just can't not eat. You're going to eat your body, your brain. We believe the stories we've been told. And I like to tell people, just like the food pyramid, turn it upside down. Pretty much anything you've heard in the traditional, channels is just not accurate.
Yeah, I went to see Frank Armstrong, my skin guy.
Yeah.
And he's a DO. He's a physician also. He's a very knowledgeable guy. So I, of course, got in the bushes on Friday, and I got whacked with the live oak. It didn't even touch me, but I still got it. So I went to see him, and he gave me some cream for it. And He says, how's it going? You still on a paleo thing? I says, well, actually, we're getting more and more away from plant food as we go through this thing. We started out doing what normal people do. I think we added a lot better meat, we added better quality to our food, and then 1 year and 2 years and 3 years in, we start putting things away and not eating as much of the carbohydrates. And now we're 10 years in, and we hardly eat carbohydrates except for spicing things up, except for adding flavor to soups and to things. But as an irregular meal, we don't have a vegetable sitting there with us. We will have some olive oil and a little drizzle of things like that.
He's curious about what you're doing.
He says, really? He says, that's really fascinating because I've been on this now for about 4 years, and he said, too, I've noticed me changing, the tastes change as you go through this. And so I always eat the meat first, and then sometimes I don't eat what's in front of me anymore, after that. So it's an interesting process. When we get back, I want to talk a little bit more about this and adding, the cholesterol into this so we can make a sense out of this whole thing. So stick around, folks. We'll be right back.
Would like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today. TFNN has just launched a Tiger Dollar sale for 1 weekend only. Through Tuesday, September 18th, you can get up to a 50% bonus on your Tiger Dollar purchase. Tiger Dollars never expire and can be used for any TFNN newsletter or service. TFNN has a new website launching in the coming weeks, and to celebrate, we're having a Tiger Dollar sale. For all the details and to get up to a 50% bonus on your Tiger Dollar purchase today, visit the front page of TFNN.com before this sale ends Tuesday. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Many of our new listeners have heard about The Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive The Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on The Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And welcome back. Nico and I are talking about a subject I'm very passionate about, and we've been talking about arterial health and how fasting gives our body a chance to kind of clean up.
Yeah.
And I've always said cholesterol is not the villain, it's the fireman. He shows up on the scene to repair damage that's already occurred.
And I agree.
And most likely has occurred from free radicals or excess sugar and that kind of a thing. And the cholesterol makes it so that you survive.
So these recommended foods by Kellogg's Corn Flakes and Post cereals and all these things that came about after the First World War, the packaged food.
Or the
these
upside-down pyramid.
That's the pyramid that's upside down, and that's the food we should be avoiding instead of
Exactly, Nico.
doing it 6 times a day.
And here, let's discuss this. Saturated fat and cholesterol are important to a healthy diet. And I before we get into this article, you know, even yesterday I was on a website, and there's still so many people that will make that reference. They'll say, oh, and you know, he had high cholesterol, and this one person was citing Dr. Ornish, and I know Dr. Ornish, you know, I'd like to really explore that a little bit more, has had some success, but was it really because he lowered the cholesterol? Because we've seen that half the people that have heart attacks have low cholesterol.
Yeah.
So there's no real correlation there.
Well, the first scientific evidence linking trans fat to heart disease while exonerating the saturated fats, in other words, the saturated fats weren't the problem, was published in 1957 by Fred Kummerow. Now, he was a biologist and author of Cholesterol is Not the Culprit, a guide to preventing heart disease.
Yeah, and I remember this, that, I mean, it was really before the whole cholesterol movement of vilification happened. He had already proven that it was not.
Right,
But
unfortunately.
they saw it as a money-making opportunity, and his science was overshadowed by Ansel Keys, the 7 countries study, which was a cherry-picked study.
Yeah, there was 22 countries involved, and the rest of them didn't make it because it didn't go along.
It didn't fit with his research.
That's right.
That's exactly right. And later, a reanalysis revealed that he did, in fact, cherry-pick it. But the saturated fat myth was already firmly entrenched in the psyche of the American people worldwide.
Key's bias research launched the low-fat myth and reshaped the food industry for decades to come.
And look at the mess it's put us in now.
That's right.
And as saturated fat and cholesterol were shunned, the food industry switched to using trans fats, frankenfats, found in margarine, vegetable shortening, and partially hydrogenated vegetable oils, and sugar instead.
And the reason they wanted to put the sugar in there, of course, because you're taking out all the flavor with the fats.
That's exactly
so
right,
now you have
Nico.
to put some flavor in. The only other option you really have is sugar.
And I want to make one other point. I follow this really great blog, and it's called Cows Eat Grass.
Okay.
And it's really a Peatitarian, a Ray Peat follower. And as you know, Ray Peat is a fan of sugar.
Yeah.
He likes sugar. He hates PUFAs or oils.
Right.
So really, we may be spending a lot of time vilifying sugar when in fact it's the rancid oils,
That's
the
right.
bad
Yeah.
fats.
And the PUFAs he's talking about are the vegetable oils, and also some of the omega-3s that maybe have a shelf life that's already gone,
and
which is
are
probably most of them.
improperly prepared, correct?
Yeah,
Yes,
so
exactly.
some of them aren't even fermented or anything like that. So be very careful when you're taking these omega-3s to find a great source.
I agree. So let's talk about the big fat surprise. And you all know that I love Nina Teicholz. I met her at the Weston A. Price Foundation a year and a half ago when I was there. And she is a wonderful woman, investigative journalist, and she was one of the first major investigative journalists to break the story of the dangers of the trans fats back in 2004.
Right.
So she's really a leader. And she was recently on the Joe Rogan show, and he interviewed her, and they discussed her 2014 book, The Big Fat Surprise, which is a big fat
Yeah,
book.
well, why butter, meat, and cheese belong in a healthy diet.
And really, she's been having to defend her position with the diet dictocrats for quite some time.
Yeah, well, here she says that not only does the belief that saturated fat and cholesterol, the belief
she
that it makes you
dismantles
fat
it.
and cause disease, she reveals while the danger of trans fat are becoming widely recognized, the recommended replacements are vegetable oils, which actually be more harmful.
They're actually more harmful, very
That's
much
right.
what Ray Peat has been saying.
Exactly.
It's the PUFAs.
Yeah.
PUFA meaning polyunsaturated fatty acids, and that is what all vegetable and most nut and seed oils are.
Yeah, the only exception would be the omega-3s that come from animals, which is a polysaturated fat, but it's a different form. So it's kind of different, and they're very volatile because they go bad quickly, so they have to be really handled carefully.
But what Nina does so beautifully is she dives into the politics and the shady underbelly of nutritional science, and yes, we know that is there, revealing how the food industry has manipulated the scientific discussion and built a largely false foundation for the nutritional recommendations we've been given.
Yeah, and corruption, she says, is not the only problem. She says that there's very strong tendencies for researchers to fall in love with their own ideas and their own beliefs.
Especially when their pockets are being padded.
Yeah, and this is true for scientists and also for regular people. And when you strongly believe something is true, you will tend to find evidence you're looking for and ignore anything that refutes it.
That's true. It really is kind of a human psychology problem. We want to believe what we want to believe.
And this is why the scientific system of elimination is so important. I think we've lost really the study of science in a sense, because now people are throwing science into like the global warming thing and everything else. While science is something that is taken away to see what the reaction is. And we're trying to disprove things in science, not prove things. The whole scientific structure is for disproof. Not for saying, hey, I found something out and this is what it is. I've disproved all the other options and this reveals.
I also find that, you know, scientific studies are often done, as Jack Cruz points out, in a blue light environment. They're doing all the tests in a laboratory under blue light. I mean,
that's a good point.
I mean, it's like, hello.
And drinking the tap water too, right?
That is why Weston A. Price's work is so revered. And,
well, no doubt.
And you know, his book, Nutrition and Physical Degeneration, because they were done on native tribes in their environment.
Yeah.
You know?
Scientists are not supposed to fall into the all-too-human trap. They're taught to distrust their beliefs and shoot down their own hypothesis. But this is
not the case with nutritional science.
That didn't happen.
Yeah, that's not what happened. They cherry-picked the evidence and completely ignored and actively suppressed even anything that contradicted their ideas. And Ansel Keys is front and center on that. But let's bust the low-fat myth.
Yeah, and also let's just talk about that. Under no circumstances should you ever take the word of a company doing their own tests, just because of what we went over in these last two
paragraphs. But what
paragraphs.
we're saying is sometimes we don't even want to take the research of a scientist.
Because of that particular belief.
He didn't work for a certain company, but he became famous for it.
But he may be going to work for them, too.
Right, but my point is, it doesn't have to just be industry. It can just be people that have other agendas.
Yeah, but there are good scientists that follow the whole scientific
method.
Yeah,
but,
exactly. So Nancy points out the fact that saturated fat has been a healthy human staple for thousands of years, and the low-fat craze has resulted in more sugar and more problems with our
the
health.
Bad oils. Yeah, and she says increased inflammation and disease. We're going to continue to discuss this information, so don't go anywhere.
We'll be right back.
Disgust. It is.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
No matter what kind of trader you are, 2018 is a great time to try out a subscription to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report. Whether you just plan on diversifying your portfolio with some exposure to gold and gold mining equities, or you're a gold bull that sees 2018 as the year of commodities, now is a great time to sign up for the Gold Report. Tom O'Brien publishes his Gold Report every Monday morning before the market opens and covers a variety of topics including gold, silver, platinum, copper, the XAU and HUI, the dollar, bonds, South African rand, as well as more than 20 of the most actively traded mining equities. Start your 2018 off with a bang and sign up for the Gold Report today. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. For all the details and to start your subscription right now, visit the front page of TFNN.com and you'll find the Gold Report under Investment Newsletters. David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
And we're welcome back. You know, Nico and I are talking a little bit about how we got into this belief that low fat was the way to go, and it really kind of took off after Ansel Keys did his work, after Eisenhower had his heart attack. But when you stop and think what was going on right at that time, that's when we were introducing the Frankenfats.
Yep.
And women were going back into the going into the workforce, and our food changed. Our food had been changing, and that was when the American Heart Association started encouraging Americans to limit dietary fat, particularly animal fats, to reduce their risk of heart disease. This was 1961, and they maintained that position even to this day. In fact, despite all the new research, just this last summer, they sent out a presidential advisory to cardiologists around the world, reiterating its 1961 advice to replace butter and coconut oil with margarine and vegetable oils to protect against heart disease. Why in the world would they do this? Because they are supported and funded by big food.
Yeah, and I just saw an article.
And the food companies saw that no one's buying their stuff anymore.
There was an article last week, and there was more than one, in fact, talking about how coconut oil was saying this is really healthy, but now they're saying, well, wait a minute, it's not really healthy. Of course, this is probably being put on by the people who, want to sell the vegetable oils.
And remember who advertises for the media?
Yeah, exactly.
Who funds the ads?
Yeah.
The drug companies, the food companies.
In fact, the drug companies right now are the #1 advertiser in the United States, and the second being the food companies.
And not allowed, by the way, in most other European countries.
And
no pharmaceutical drugs are allowed.
How often do you see a ribeye steak on TV being advertised?
Oh, yeah.
Or even butter?
If you see animal foods, it's from the fast food companies. Right? A burger or...
Quarter pounder.
Right.
Yeah.
But you don't see...
We don't see real food being advertised, ever.
Right. No,
there might be a
crazy.
restaurant here and there that advertises, but they don't advertise really about the food that much.
And the American Heart Association ignores the research that demonstrated that low-fat, low-cholesterol strategy does more harm than good.
Listen to this. In 2012, researchers at Norwegian Society, our University of Science and Technology, examined the health and lifestyle habits of more than 52,000 adults from 20 to 74, including the low cholesterol levels, increased women's risk for heart disease. They studied the...
They concluded that the low cholesterol increased women's risk for heart disease.
And also the cardiac arrest and for stroke. So overall, women with high cholesterol, greater than 270 milligrams DL, actually had a 28% lower mortality rate than women with the low cholesterol of the 183.
And that's a really huge point there, because I still think there's such a drive to get your cholesterol under 200.
Yeah, and then we want it really higher as we age.
And that is a really good point. Wouldn't you want your more firemen on the scene, knowing that as you age, you might, have a little, more.
Be nice to just park your house right next to the fire
But did you see
station.
that number 270? Most people just freak out. I mean,
Yeah.
my
Well,
question.
remember, the first threshold that I recall was 240.
Mm-hmm.
Then they dropped it to 220 and 200 and then 180. Now they're even talking about 160.
My cholesterol runs around 260.
Yeah, I don't know what mine is.
And
but
my HDL is, always, anywhere from 70 plus.
yeah, mine's 79. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes I feel like my LDL cholesterol, I hate it when people call that the bad cholesterol,
Yeah.
because it's not.
No.
It's actually it's the car that carries your hormones around.
Well, it's coming back from the liver. So the good cholesterol that they call is going into the liver to be cleansed, and then the bad cholesterol is going out of the liver. It's already been cleansed. Why would that be bad?
Right, exactly. But that's what the thinking is. In 2013, a prominent London cardiologist, Aseem Malhotra, argued in the British Medical Journal that you should ignore advice to reduce your saturated fat intake because it's actually increasing your risk for obesity and heart disease. And he has become, I follow him on Facebook, he's really become quite renowned, and he's written some great books. You might want to
There's
pick
another
them up.
study here, 2014, a meta-analysis published in the Annals of the Internal Medicine using data from nearly 80 studies, and more than 500,000 people found those who consume higher amounts of saturated fat have no more heart disease than those consuming less.
And they also did not find less heart disease among those eating higher amounts of unsaturated fat, including both olive oil and corn oil.
Yeah, now cholesterol is not only beneficial for your body, it's absolutely vital for optimal functioning. For example, cholesterol is needed for the construction of your cell membranes.
Absolutely.
And helps
we never had an issue with Alzheimer's. We never heard of that until we got into
New
these
disease.
Frankenfats.
Yep.
Well, if we're cutting back on the fats that are used to make the cell membranes, then we've got an issue here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your body also needs saturated fats to function properly. One way to understand this need is to consider the food ancient humans consumed. Many experts believe we evolved as hunter and gatherers and have eaten a variety of animal products for most of our existence on Earth. I like the way they say on Earth. Maybe we came from someplace else.
Yeah,
Good
to
stuff.
suggest that saturated fats are suddenly harmful to us makes no sense, at least not from an evolutionary perspective. You bring that up, we evolved on Earth. Well, they say that the grain was introduced by the Egyptians. And if you look at the Egyptians, with their hats and everything, there's quite a lot of speculation that their skulls, they had that larger skull.
Yeah, I've seen
Many
those.
times the reason for the hat was because their heads went up that
And
way.
they kind of popped in. All of a sudden, 2,500 years before Christ, boom, there the Egyptians showed up. And there was nothing there before. The history of the Earth is the most fascinating thing right now, because we're finding more and more ancient things that we never even thought that were there. And
Oh my gosh, I got to tell y'all, I'm going to give you a video, a YouTube tip.
okay.
Because I'll forget.
Go.
Robert Seifer, his YouTube station is called Atlantean Gardens, and he does clips about the true history. So he's not funded. You know how we've learned that many anthropologists that don't stick with the official story, they don't get funding?
Right.
So he's funded by his videos. They're fabulous. You guys got to go watch them. Atlantean Gardens on YouTube.
I'll check it out.
A little bit more interest on what's going on and where we really came from. But let's go back to it. So we know that we need saturated fat to build cell membranes. We need it for hormone and hormone-like signaling. All of our sex hormones are actually, if you don't have any cholesterol, you're not going to make them.
Right.
And that's really important.
Hence the drugs to get an erection.
And facilitating, a lot of the things that happen with cholesterol is it facilitates minerals absorption. Many of our minerals and our vitamins are fat soluble, and we need the fats to do it. Converting, for example, keratin, which is a water-soluble nutrient, into vitamin A is a difficult task. You need the fat-soluble version, or retinol, and that's a fat-soluble nutrient.
Yep.
So helping to lower cholesterol levels is not necessarily what you want to be doing. Optimal fuel for your brain is provided through fats, and we want to continue to look for good quality fats that we get, and because we need fat-soluble nutrients, vitamins A, D, E, and K.
Yeah, acting as carrier for fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K, converting a carotene into vitamin A, helping to lower cholesterol levels, antiviral activity.
Caprylic acid, it comes from goat butter.
Optimal fuel for your brain, for sure. We always think about carbohydrates for your brain, but it's really it's the fat.
But it's the ketone we learned earlier, right?
Yeah,
that's right.
sure.
All right, we'll be right back. We're talking about the big fat surprise and the fact that cholesterol can be your friend. Learn how.
Stick around, folks. We'll be right back.
I'm certain you are or strive to be one of the best at everything you do in life. It's the most common trait that we tigers and tigresses share. If you're looking to become the best of the best when it comes to managing your money, let me teach you to do what most wealth managers tell you can't be done, which is how to time the markets. I'm Steve Rhodes, author of Mastering Probability, and for the last 12 months, Timer Digest has been tracking my newsletter signals, which have earned me the ranking as their #1 market timer in the nation for the S&P 500 for the last 12, 6, and 3 months. Timer Digest also ranks me as the #1 market timer for gold as well. The fact is, markets can be timed, and I'll teach you the exact set of tools that I use that has transformed me into one of the best at what I do. Sign up for Mastering Probability today by clicking on the newsletter tab on the homepage of TFNN.com and get immediate access to workshops where I take you step by step how to use an extraordinary set of tools as well as provide great market calls too. Sign up today.
Hi folks, Tom O'Brien here. If you'd like to get my daily newsletter, Market Insights, then now is a great time to sign up for a 30-day free trial. Every morning by 9:30, I send out my morning letter to subscribers with market commentary on a variety of markets, currencies, and commodities to keep investors up to date on the day's trading action. Included in Market Insights are specific buy and sell recommendations for stocks, ETFs, and even options, with stops and price targets included for every trade in my newsletter. If you'd like to try my newsletter risk-free for 30 days, then head over to the front page of TFNN and you'll find Market Insights under Trading Newsletters. I use my years of trading experience to bisect and dissect the market every morning and give my subscribers the most important information they need to know for the day ahead. I even issue afternoon updates for my subscribers whenever warranted with important market action. I'm always scouring the market for the next great trading opportunity. Sign up for your 30-day free trial to my daily newsletter, Market Insights, today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Wow! Go get 'em, folks.
No matter where you're listening to TFNN programming, you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones, iPads, and Android devices, located in the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV, but if you don't have a connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and call-in talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com, educating investors.
And welcome back. By eliminating saturated fat and cholesterol-rich foods, we've also eliminated many of the most nutritious, dense food from our diet.
Right.
Eggs and liver being just 2 examples. And this also has its repercussions for human health and development.
Yeah, as we said, those are the fat-soluble nutrients. And you know, Sally Fallon at Weston A. Price does a great lecture on that because everyone's running around and saying, you need to have these plant-based, nutrient-dense foods. Hey, I'll give it to them, and I like my healthy greens. I like some. However, there's no comparison between the nutrients in our green foods
even if
and
you eat,
liver or eggs.
Yeah, you have to eat, to get the equivalent, you'd have to eat 10 times as much, but then they're not digestible as much.
And you've got that issue, right. So I really, especially liver.
But the important thing about this whole thing is fat is very saturating, and you're far likely...
Satisfying, you mean?
Satisfying.
Gives you that full feeling.
Yeah, exactly. And you're less likely to overheat on high-fat diets rather than the low-fat diets. So people are complaining all the time that they're starving. And if you've eaten a meal 3 hours ago,
If you're having to eat every hour and a half, you're not getting enough of the good fat
or even
soluble
4
nutrients.
hours, I would say. You know, you should be at 4 hours. You say, yeah, I could eat something, but I don't need to.
No.
That's the way I feel.
I actually feel, like I said, I've gotten more and more where I'm pretty much a 1 or 2 meal person.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That's
and
what I am too.
I like that.
The other problem is the carb addiction, which fuels cycles of hunger, which continues
right.
the overeating naturally, and that's a real thing. And it's not just the blues of the carbs, because they kind of pull you in, the smell of bread and things like that. But remember, in the last show, we were talking about those hidden toxins are all in the fat. So now if you're losing weight, and that fat cell is getting smaller and smaller, that stuff is starting to come out.
And that's why it's really important to use binders like fulvic and humic as part of your daily.
Exactly.
And like the biomedic, which is constantly binding the things that your body has no use for.
Right, and you can use activated charcoal, things like that help also. But when you're talking about nutrition, we really talk about the fulvic and humic acids. Those are the important
That's right.
things.
And listen, guys, by shifting your diet from a high carb to a high fat diet, you eventually regain the metabolic flexibility to burn both types of fuel, fat and sugar. And this solves a lot of the problems of the hunger cycle.
That's right. I hope this helps you, and keep diving down and discovering it for yourself. Really important stuff to stay healthy, especially weather's kind of crazy lately, and we need to be healthy in bad weather.
Right.
Leave it there. See you next time, folks.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.